Henry David Thoreau, Walden, or Life in the Woods. Step into the world of Henry David Thoreau's Walden, or Life in the Woods, where the author embarks on a journey of self-discovery and simple living. Tired of the stresses and superficiality of modern life, Thoreau escapes society and immerses himself in the beauty of nature. The book's key themes include the power of contemplation, embracing minimalism, and the wisdom that can arise from a life devoted to the essentials. As you read this summary, get ready to find inspiration and valuable insights into the importance of self-sufficiency, the liberating effects of simplicity, and the introspective power of solitude.
Thoreau's take on modern life. In 1845, Henry David Thoreau left the chaos of modern life for the peaceful wooded shore of Walden Pond. He believed that the new era was bled of wisdom and freedom. Thoreau despised how people worked tirelessly to buy surplus luxuries that added no meaning to their lives. He famously said, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation." Thoreau thought reading acted as a guide and comfort and played a crucial role in intellectual growth. But he was worried that people were becoming intellectually stunted because they didn't have the time or energy to read. Thoreau lived in Walden to prove that there was more to life than that offered by modern society. His personal experience can be used as a lesson for people today. A favorite work of Thoreau's was Homer's epic poem The Iliad, which acted as a source of comfort in his new environment. So take a page from Thoreau's book and find volumes that breathe life and knowledge into your daily life or offer responses to the questions that loom over you. Walden Life. Thoreau's move to Walden Pond was not a decision to live as a hermit, but rather an effort to escape the mundane and focus on more enlightened activities. He aimed to live a simple life by meeting only the essential needs of food, shelter, clothing, and fuel for the fireplace. Thoreau saw farming and building his own house as satisfying tasks that would allow him to sustain himself and think clearly without modern-day pressures. His move to Walden reflects his desire for a life of philosophical, spiritual, creative, and artistic pursuits. Thoreau's perspective on housing and life lessons. Thoreau believed that Native Americans had practical homes while civilized Americans focused on status symbols. He valued building one's dwelling and cultivating their food as a way to gain practical knowledge and virtues. Thoreau saw farming as a noble art that had deep roots and tremendous complexity just beneath the surface. Thoreau's immersive experience in nature. Thoreau's new home provided him with the ideal place to observe and listen to nature, surrounded by the sounds of birds, squirrels, and other creatures. His solitude in the woods was an immersive experience, rather than a lonely exile. Thoreau's house cost only $28 to build, yet it was enough to provide him with a perfect view of the stars reflected on the surface of the still water of Walden Pond. Thoreau's rustic hospitality. Thoreau's small cabin in the woods was a hub of lively conversations and simple, rustic meals despite his preference for open spaces to discuss deep ideas. Contrary to popular belief, Henry David Thoreau was not a solitary hermit living in isolation in his remote cabin in the woods. In fact, he was quite sociable and had many visitors, including a young Canadian lumberjack who became his favorite guest. Thoreau's cabin was small, and he found it challenging to accommodate visitors inside the tight quarters. Instead, he preferred to take the table and chairs outside, where they could discuss and eat beneath the canopy of trees in comfort. His hospitality was humble, and he enjoyed sharing a loaf of homemade bread with his guests. Despite his preference for open spaces to discuss big ideas, Thoreau's cabin was a hub of lively conversations. His visitors included writer, poet, and philosopher friends, as well as curious individuals who came to learn from his experiment. Thoreau admired the simplicity and honesty of the lumberjack and was pleased to learn that they both appreciated Homer's poetry. His rustic home was a peaceful and enjoyable spot, where people from all walks of life could come together over a simple meal and meaningful conversations. Thoreau and his woodland neighbors. In this book, Thoreau reveals his deep connection with the animals that lived around his home in the woods. He particularly enjoyed the company of woodland mice, partridges, loons, and red squirrels. Although shy at first, these animals quickly acclimated to Thoreau's presence and became his cherished neighbors. Thoreau found the intelligence in the eyes of the ground-nesting partridges and enjoyed watching them take their constitutionals. He was also amused by the antics of the cheeky woodland mice who used to scurry up his pants leg and share a bite of his supper. Thoreau's favorite was the loon, a highly intelligent bird that would plunge into Walden Pond hunting for fish. During the winter, Thoreau left some unripened corn in the snow for the red squirrel that made quite a show inspecting, dragging it off, and delighting on his branch. Overall, Thoreau valued the presence of his woodland neighbors, and they enriched his experience of living in the woods. Surviving Walden's severe winters. Enduring the harsh Walden Pond winters, Thoreau made sure he had enough wood and water and protected his home from the icy winds, while discovering a surprising source of fuel and a sweeter taste in his food. In Walden, Thoreau narrates his 2-year experience living simply in the woods, including the challenges he faced during the harsh New England winters. In particular, when Walden Pond completely froze over in September 1845, Thoreau had to quickly prepare for living in sub-zero temperatures. He constructed a chimney and plastered his walls to keep the heat in and the icy winds out. He also had to break through the thick ice to get water from the pond, which was his only source of drinking water. This meant regularly trudging through the snow to the lake, clearing the snow off its surface, and then cracking the foot-thick ice. However, Thoreau discovered a boon while looking for wood to heat his home. He found that the dead frozen pine logs that had become waterlogged in the lake burned surprisingly well. Furthermore, they burned for a much longer time than usual since they were so full of water. Thoreau also noticed that the hot steam they generated made them far hotter than he might have otherwise expected. Besides being an excellent source of fuel, cooking his meals over this wood gave them a unique sweetness. Walden's severe winters were not entirely insurmountable, though, as Thoreau was blessed to be surrounded by a lot of quality timber. He persevered through the sub-zero temperatures, enduring the challenges of getting water and cutting wood to heat his home, always spurred on by his curiosity about the natural world. Thoreau's joyful spring. Thoreau revels in the renewal of nature during the spring at Walden Pond, marking the endless cycle of life. Thoreau, in his experiment in the woods, eagerly awaited the arrival of spring. As the snow melted at the top of the slopes, brown lava-like water descended in a channel of muddy sludge beneath the ice. The birds' chirping announced the end of winter, and soon bluebirds and red-winged blackbirds flocked the sky with beautiful sights to behold. With the arrival of the first sparrow of spring, life flourished everywhere and the forest felt energized while the verdant grass turned a darker shade of green. Thoreau noticed the growth of grass as the weeks followed, and the call of whip-poor-will along with that of brown thrasher could be heard all around. One morning, a far-off haunting cry of a goose echoed out for a companion, and Thoreau realized the arrival of spring marked the endless cycle of life. Having been accustomed to city life, Thoreau found the metamorphosis a truly revitalizing experience. Thus, Thoreau's experiment in the woods had offered him the opportunity to revel in the renewal of nature, marking the endless cycle of life. Lessons from Walden Pond. Thoreau's 2-year stay in the woods taught him the importance of simplicity, escaping modern society to expand one's thoughts, seeking truth over riches, and the value of a self-sustained life surrounded by nature. These lessons are universal and can be applied to anyone's life. Cultivating simplicity, nurturing the intellect by selling what is not needed, and avoiding materialism are all essential for leading a truly fulfilling life.
In concluding Thoreau's experience at Walden, we reflect on the valuable lessons he derived from his 2 years living in harmony with nature. His simple life enriched his soul and brought him insights he may not have gained otherwise. From understanding the futility of materialism to the importance of cultivating simplicity, Thoreau presents a transformative perspective on life and happiness. The wisdom inside Walden, or Life in the Woods, offers inspiration for those seeking a purer, more deliberate existence, one that is guided by the values of introspection, self-sufficiency, and true connection with nature. Let Thoreau's captivating journey become your roadmap to finding meaning and purpose by embracing the gifts of nature and simplicity in your own life.